So my team just alerted me to this Google review from about my company, Live in Flow, and it's a positive one. Let's just say that for a start. Now, to give this review some context, I mean, it was written on Google, so I'm sure Tamara's not going to mind me reading this out for the podcast. I've just got back from our 5-day immersive Live in Flow retreat in northern New South Wales, Australia, that we ran. I think we've ran now about 35, 36 of them. And you might have noticed, if you follow my podcast for a while, that I'm doing more solo episodes and I'm becoming more vocal about certain aspects of what I see in these retreats, because I feel like it goes into an alternative reality, an alternative world. And we're in this bubble, and then we come out, and then you got the world that can seem chaotic and incoherent, where we're creating a coherence in these retreats. Anyway, let me get to the review. When miracles happen, I saw people come with walking sticks and in chronic pain walk out pain-free with no aids. No words can describe 5 days with these guys. Life-changing, powerful, heart explosion. I found a love I never knew existed. That love is for me, from me, and to me. The words, thank you, do not seem enough. Living in the flow. So live in flow, you help me find. Or living in the flow, you help me find. Much love, T. Tamara. And Tamara, thank you for this beautiful review. And not only to mention that, Tamara had her own profound healings along in this retreat and prior to the retreat when she came to a one-day event as well. And I'm sure she won't mind me sharing, but she had cysts on her ovaries. And then after starting to do this work, they vanished. So let's get into it. What is going on here? Let's dive in. All right. So this solo episode's a bit off the cuff, as always, because I just saw that review and I thought, wow, I've got to start making noise about this a little bit. And where do I start? First thing is, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice in any shape, way, or form. I'm just a guy that holds space, that can channel a lot of energy. And I work with beautiful human beings along with Matt Olmo, Petra Brozovic, who have their unique, amazing gifts as well. And sometimes I feel like we're a bit like the Avengers. You know, we all have our individual unique gifts that we bring to the world. And then when we come together, you're the Avengers. How's that for an analogy? Anyway, rewinding back. So I'm going to get into 7 little points that I feel how a lady can come in from a walk, needing a cane to get around, and by the end of it, not needing a cane, lifting chairs and walking around bolt upright. What is going on? And that's just one out of many, many cases. Now, the first thing I want to say, though, is that I believe this is a journey, not a destination. And I don't want to paint a picture of you've got to be in pain or broken or have a disability to lean into spiritual work. That couldn't be far further from the case, because ultimately the body learns, the nervous system's dynamic, and we continue to evolve and grow. I used to see it in the fitness industry all the time. People waited till they were diagnosed with diabetes or have health conditions or overweight or have problems. They've drifted so long in their life and they get to a point where they're in so much pain that they have to get healthy. And then they start doing boot camps, smashing their body, and they start getting on a health kick, right? But with the dream in mind that one day they can then keep their lifestyle the way that it's going, but starting to do this fitness stuff on the side. And people seem to take that into whatever industry you're looking at, with the resistance to want to change. That is at the core meat and potatoes of all of this stuff. I don't even know if that's the right sentence. But anyway, do you get my point? So what is required, and I really wish everyone would experience this, you don't want to wait till you're sick to be making healthy choices. You just make healthy choices. It becomes part of you and you become congruent. But it's like, how do you get from, A to B, and the gap in the middle, which if you listen to my podcast, you would have heard me speak about many times. Anyway, I digress. But what's great about this lady with the cane, or Tamara with the cysts and so forth, that's physical, that's tangible evidence, right? You can see a clear, they were overweight. Oh, now they're not overweight. Wow, what a result. And let's give me some of that. But that's not really what we're after. At the end of the day, it's about becoming a more congruent human being and leaning in and allowing us to grow, develop, and become closer to our own truth. That's just my version of this anyway. So with that in mind, we get all sorts of people coming in, whether they're unwell or whether they just want to spiritually evolve and continue to grow. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. That's the beauty of this, right? So let's keep all that in mind while we go into these ingredients of how that could then alleviate somebody's health conditions so they're really having transformational moments. It's amazing, right? What a time to be alive. Anyway, ingredient number 1, you might have spoken to this, I can't remember. Willingness. You got to be willing to go there. You got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to drop the story. You got to be willing to let go and start to claim the future self in this moment. You don't need to know how. You do not need to know how. The way will appear when you declare to yourself that I want to do this. I am willing to do what it takes to change everything. Do we need hand-holding for that? Absolutely. If we don't have fundamental, foundational pieces in place, of course we need guidance. The amount of hand-holding I've had over the years in different moments in areas I don't understand and need to grow, I'd reach out, but I'm always willing to do the work. I'm always willing to show up for myself or whatever it is and have that dedication, that openness. Willingness creates an openness, and it creates not a push. Remember, we're not forcing this. We're just willing to say, I'm ready to go there, right? So what have I got? It's about willingness to actually meet yourself. You're ready? I'd have had, yeah. So without willingness, everything else doesn't translate. Okay, Secrets of Aboriginal Healing. I go on about that book all the time. Willingness is number 1. So Cane Lady, willingness. So that's the first thing. Tamara, willingness. I'm done with the old self. I'm all in, right? Second then is awareness. Awareness, the development of awareness. That's why we have a 21-day awareness challenge. That's like the little awareness boot camp to get you through the door to get going. Okay, if you go to Live in Flow, links below, you can jump into that, right? I don't care. It's up to you. If you're willing and you want to do it, go for it. Okay, but awareness is, imagine this, right? Imagine for a moment, I used to play games with myself for this all the time, not that I did it, but imagine somebody could film you for the next 24 hours, right? And you didn't know. They just followed you around with a video camera, and it recorded what you said. It recorded your body actions. It recorded the things that you do. And, it just followed you around the whole time. And then it could play it back to you. And you could see yourself from a third person perspective, watching your behavioral patterns, watching and listening to the words you speak, feeling into the energy that you're resonating in any given moment around that, watching the frustrations, the story, the chat, the reinforcement of the pain or the problems that you're having, the judgments that you're making. Imagine it could record your thoughts at the same time and then play that to you at the end of the 24 hours. Let's make sense of it. Like, what the hell happened? So all these emotions, the roles we play, the behaviors we do, the patterns will start, wouldn't you agree? They start to show themselves. Well, that's how I used to imagine it anyway. I think, yeah, they would, right? So we could then quickly see how we're actually perpetuating a certain reality, I believe. That's how I was able to start to shift, because the more I got into developing my awareness and relinquishing the mind to seeing what's underneath that comes to the surface without judgment, because judgment continues to sever your connection to divine, to source. Judgment is the handbrake to the divine. The more you then able to have this as David Clements said, peaceful observer, awareness, we can do it, right? So that was the second thing. So when you're in a held container for 5 days, willingness is already on the cards because you're willing to go there. You've already committed, you've invested financially. You're like, I'm doing this, right? So there's a willingness that's coming through the door. The next thing is then, of course, we're going to develop our awareness because all the distractions are removed from our lives. All those narratives and those patterns, as if you've been filmed for the last 24 hours, is out the door because you're held in a space that is now, okay, the unknown of I should say, it's not familiar, right? And we get safety in familiar. You'd be amazed how many people keep walking to sit in the same chair every day at the retreat, or they go to the same yoga spot, the same yoga mat, or whatever it might be, because there's a familiarity, and then they find their little comforts and little places to we're just clinging on to what is known. We're breaking that, right? So these are different ingredients, right, from what diagnosis, once you get diagnosed, and the medical system would be probably prognosing right now. So the next thing is safety. Safety is huge, 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 huge. If you don't feel safe, if your body does not feel safe, and if it's not getting into this place of being held and feeling safe, you're going to stay in fight or flight. And if you stay in fight or flight, you are shutting down the gateway for the body's unique healing mechanisms to occur. How many times have you heard me say the body knows exactly what to do if we get out the way? And to get out the way, we need to feel safe. So safety is fundamental. And sometimes we need to get out of our environments and into a space that allow us to feel safe, okay? In that, because we might not feel safe at work, we might not feel safe in many places, but if we don't feel safe ultimately in our body, we can project that out into the external world. And I know everyone's environments, everyone's lives are very challenging and very different, but what I'm into is like, I see the spirit as like the spiritual gym. We're spiritually weightlifting, so we start to develop this inner resilience and power within us in this energetic flow. And as we clear and build stronger foundations, we then have the ability to not be swayed by our external. And we've got to start somewhere, right? Or we can sit and complain about everything, or we start taking steps moving forward. So safety is critical. So again, back to Cane Lady, safety, feeling safe. So starting to become aware of her stories, her patterns, her voices. Awareness is pretty fundamental there, but it's how we then identify with awareness and what's coming up is another key. So acceptance is a big component, which I'm not going to go into now, but they tend to go hand in hand, because you say, I'm aware of everything, I'm aware of my shit, I'm aware of this, but then why isn't it changing? How much awareness do I need, right? Well, I can guarantee you there'll be something under that's even perpetuating that narrative. Okay. Anyway, so safety. So safety creates the capacity to change. Because when you start to create a level of love and heart and a coherent space of healing, boy, can you really start to let go and start to unwind out of the energetic blockages that could be potentially at the root of these things. Okay, I'm saying potentially. All right. So the fourth thing then, emotional release and healing is then what happens. So when you start to think of things that we're holding on to, grief, fear, shame, anger, trauma, or beliefs, childhood conditioning, not because we want to spend our life healing, but because if we keep digging, we're always going to find shit at the same time. But when we come to these elements, the body is then ready to reveal itself, okay? But to get to these, then that's where the techniques that we use, breath, sound, energy work, regression, There's many, many, many modalities that start to open the door for these emotional releases to occur. Does that make sense? So we got to go in this order. We actually, if you go to our website, on our retreats index page, you'll see a pyramid. We've even held webinars on it, and you'll see the fundamental layers that we need to go through. So people just might want to come for the healing. So if somebody's in pain or suffering and they're perpetuating the problem, it's like, we've been so conditioned, I'm just going to take this. I just got a diagnosis. This is the symptom. Let me just sort it out, make it go so I can carry on without my life. That's the mentality, sadly, that I see a lot. Even in the health and fitness industry, like I said, it doesn't matter which industry. And that is one of the very things that's preventing us from going there. So the emotional release of healing isn't getting to the point 4, remember what I've already said. And if you look at that pyramid, you'll see the hierarchy of what we feel happens if we all start at the baseline and move up through that, okay? So then what happens then is through that release, we get into then embodiment, okay? So as that energy starts to move, as there's different parts starting to free, where the embodiment is the lived practice. Okay, it's not knowledge anymore, it's wisdom. So, like you've heard me say many times, it's amazing that you listen to these podcasts, and I love you for it. But unless you take that and start to apply it in areas of your life to then create the embodiment from the direct experience, it ain't going to change. I've literally just released a podcast today on surrender, okay? You don't surrender by studying it. You have to surrender. Courage, okay? You can read about courage all you like, but unless you do a courageous action, you're not going to embody what courage feels like. And being bold. Love can be generated from the internal, unless you start to really understand what it means to have a loving presence for yourself beyond the egoic mind and what that feels like in the body. We tend to seek love externally for validation because we don't feel it somewhere internally within us. But when that shifts and you have an embodiment, it all makes sense. You don't need words. You don't need a language to learn that stuff. Okay? So then the embodiment starts to take place as Cane Lady started to experience, right? So it's embody. And then the next biggest thing, which is probably the biggest thing, which is umbrella. I've just gone from 1 to 7. I just whipped it out. Is connection. The number one key to happiness. Harvard study. Connection. Feeling part of others, community. So we start to develop the connection to ourselves. We start feeling getting softer and starting to understand the body and know that the body is doing everything it can to support you, not work against you, which you can feel like. Connection, being seen, being witnessed, being vulnerable, being held. Okay? Like not being judged or feeling that you're being judged, but just being seen for who you truly are, beyond the mask and the facade and all the bullshit that we use to protect ourselves, to get into the heart of it. And then when we have people together for 5 days and everyone is seen, everyone is held, and it's like you end up loving the quirkiness of the other person, or the traits that blossom, and you see people for who they really are, not for the agitated, painful part that might be continually being perpetuated because there's an unhealed wound underneath all that. Does that make sense? So connection, I believe, is fundamental. It is fundamental to everything. But sadly, the more disconnected we feel, the more we isolate, the more we go into the mind, and the more we go into the story, and the more we keep ourselves disconnected as well. So I was only listening to a podcast last night. I was going to give it a shout out, but I can't remember who it was. Sorry. But the one of the questions that was asked on there or something is because it's around the book Atomic Habits. And the podcaster said, well, if there's one habit you need to break, what would it be? And basically the habit was you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I've heard that before on the finance side of things. You're the wealth of the 5 people you most spend time with. But it's critical that we end up mirroring, seeking connection to people that are at similar resonance to us in ways. That's how I kind of used to explore this. And really, you want to be placing yourself around people that inspire, engage, make you feel seen, heard, felt, connected continuously to lift you up in that way. All right. And then, of course, the magic ingredient that binds everything together, which I've already alluded on, is love. Is love. And what I've noticed happened is that you are able to entrain when it's like this rising tide that starts to happen when everyone starts actually energetically opening their hearts, when they start to move energy and really start to create a held container in space. The resonance of the space starts to move, starts to allow, and we're able to connect deeper and deeper to the universal field that's already present within us and all around us. It's just we haven't really built the structure, the biology to really connect with that. So as we develop that over time and our body starts awakening to what it feels like to basically resonate from this space of love, because to me, source is love. That is divinity, is all loving, it is all knowing, it is ever present, it's ever there. But the rain clouds of life are keeping us disconnected from the sunshine, you know what I'm saying? So once we start to feel that and move that through the body, it ripples into the sense of safety. It ripples more into connection to yourself. It ripples into the emotional aspects that you're ready to release because you are loved, you are held, you are safe. And boy, can that move shit, right? Wow. Let's go. Anyway, I hope this podcast made sense. That's kind of winging it, but what I see, and we see all the time, like the different physical elements that have cleared up through doing this. But the key is, right, is that, and don't get me wrong, it's like we're all co-creating this together, okay? And then the spiritual gym needs to be applied through your working life. Your not working life, that's the wrong terminology, your daily life. Whether you're at work, whether you're at home, it's implying the practices to nurture that in a big way. All right. And there are ways to do it. I'm going to be actually holding intimate, I'll see it on time restraints if I can do one-on-ones or not, but I'll be bringing in that energy. I'm going to do it into small groups, and you can do it online from anywhere in the world. You're going to be able to hold space. It's all possible. It's all possible, but you've got to invest in yourself, and you've got to say, yes, I want to change. And investing in yourself doesn't mean just financially giving out money to someone. It means looking at all areas of your life, how you eat, what water you drink, your habits, all the things that are congruent with you, what are not congruent with you. How are you going to look after your vessel, right? You're worth it. Love yourself enough to do it. That's what it boils down to. And to me, that's an overarching view of trying to condense 5 days into a little bite-sized 24-minute podcast so far. All right? There's a big difference, I know. And by the way, I'm not attacking the medical industry in any shape or form. I know doctors, I know people that even when they come into to see a GP or something, their hands are tied because people are leaving themselves get into a right old state before they are willing to make change, right? So but I just kind of wish in my romantic idea of a new earth that we all went, let's just put biases aside, agendas aside, financial agendas aside, or whatever. What's best for this human being? What can we do to move the needle to get them back to being in an aligned, coherent state? right? Not like, oh, I've got this, so I'm just gonna prognose and do this. Like, it's like, how can we create a space that's holistic and works for everyone? I don't know. I mean, if I had an answer, I'd do it. But I'm doing my best to do my little part to nurture that aspect of this work in, because people need to know about it. It exists, it's possible, but it really depends on what you bring to the table for that to happen as well. One last thing, we're going to be in the USA. I forgot to mention the weekend before Halloween, just outside of Las Vegas for 3 days. If you want to join me and a couple of other legends for 3 days in an intimate container, there may be links below. There may not. I don't know. It sounds mysterious, doesn't it? But even if you went to the Live and Flow website and emailed us and just say, let me know when the USA thingy-majiggy is open. So I'm pretty much sure that's going to be happening. We'll see. Live and Flow, right? Let it in. Anyway, much love from me. I will catch you soon, and I'll also keep you updated when I start doing these small healing sessions online. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye. I'm standing here right now in Lake Taupo in a beautiful retreat space. And there's a vast difference between an intellectual experience and passive listening to a fully embodied lived experience. Because that's what retreats can do. They can help you land, start to truly reconnect to yourself, to others, to nature, and to spirit as well. There's so much in it. That's why we created Live and Flow, and that's why we are so passionate about getting this work out there and bringing people together. If you want to find out more when our next retreat or event is coming up, just check out the link below.